Discover the incredible daily meal that can transform your leg artery health naturally at any age. Jake couldn't get the words out of his head. The catchy headline flickered from his phone's screen, seeming to taunt him. Only last week, he had been laid up with aching legs, eyes glued on the television in his tiny living room. A painful reminder of the days when he could bend down to fix a car without wincing. Now, as Ridgewood transitioned into a brittle fall, he worried his struggle wouldn't just cost him his job but take away his identity, too. His 16-year-old daughter, Lily, was a ball of hopes and dreams, ready to break free from the heavy burdens of their small town. She spent countless hours imagining college campuses and vibrant city streets, far removed from the dilapidated buildings surrounding them. But the noise of their reality always crept back in like the weeds through the cracks in the sidewalk. If only Jake could find a way to give her that chance. "Dad, can we really do this?" Lily asked one evening, her brow furrowed over a cookbook. The colors of crisp vegetables sprang from the pages like life itself. For Jake, the thought of cooking with his daughter over the new meal plan felt absurd. "I mean, everyone at school is eating junk." He hesitated. "It's just food, kid." But he couldn't ignore the pleading look in her eyes, the way she yearned to bond over something simple and meaningful. Just then, the weight of his worries pressed on his chest, stinging a little. "All right, let us give it a shot." And so began the chaos of their first cooking session. They chopped vegetables, tried out strange spices, and exchanged angry glances when Jake insisted on skimping on butter. "You wouldn't understand," she shrieked, tossing an onion in frustration. But eventually laughter bubbled up, and soon their rough patching transformed into a beautiful mess of culinary creation. Flour flew through the air, and the smell of sautéed spinach filled the kitchen. They moved around each other, growing comfortable in their tiny space, and as they slathered sweet potatoes with cinnamon, something deeper stirred. "Hey, it's kinda nice, isn't it?" Jake ventured, biting into the colorful stir-fry they had made. A smile flashed across Lily's face, reminiscent of the sunshine that broke through the clouds at dawn. For that moment, he felt lighter. If only he could bottle this feeling and save it for later. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as they were adjusting to this new rhythm of shared meals and tender moments, a shadow fell in the doorway. Jake's estranged father stood there, weary and worn, his weathered face betraying years of silence and regret. "Dad?" Jake breathed, heart racing, suddenly feeling the weight of every unresolved conflict and longing glance shared in their broken past. "Can we talk?" His father's voice trembled, unlocking memories Jake had hidden away. In that moment, the kitchen felt small. If forgiveness had a taste, Jake thought it would be bitter. Like the burnt edges of the meals he still couldn't seem to get right. And as the scars of their family shone under the fragile light, Jake knew he needed to confront not just his father, but parts of himself he had pushed aside for too long. Would Lily still be willing to share a chopping board, or would the return of old shadows douse the fire they had just stirred? The chilling breeze rattled the window, echoing questions that lingered unspoken in the air. Jake stood frozen, the spatula dangling from his fingertips, as if the weight of it could anchor him to the present. He had dreamed of this moment, or perhaps dreaded it, his father coming back after years of absence. The kitchen, once filled with laughter and the aroma of sautéed vegetables, fell silent, thick with tension. Lily blinked up at her grandfather, a mix of curiosity and confusion on her face. Jake could see the question swirling in her eyes. How could this man walk back into their lives now? What right did he have? But something in his father's expression softened the storm brewing inside him. A flicker of vulnerability that reminded Jake of the child he once was, longing for a father who never seemed to show up. "Dad, what do you want?" Jake finally managed to ask, his voice barely above a whisper, as though speaking too loudly might shatter the fragile peace they had created just moments before. I messed up, Jake. I know that. I thought I was doing what was best, but now—" His father's words trailed off, as if he wrestled with a decade of regrets tumbling over each other, struggling to find their way to the surface. "I want to make things right." Lily crossed her arms, surprised by the emotional depth of the moment. "You can't just come here and expect everything to be okay," she interjected, naively speaking the truth that had clawed at Jake for years. "You've been gone." Jake swallowed hard, caught between a daughter's fierce loyalty and the complex love he felt for a father who left him to navigate life alone. Yet, part of him buried deep wanted to hear his father's story. Had there been a context to the failures? A reason for his absence? But could he trust him again? The walls felt like they were closing in, simmering with the weight of unspoken pain. Jake glanced at the food they'd made together, colors vibrant and beautiful, a testament to their rekindled bond. "Can we just," he began, unsure how to voice the turmoil swirling in him, "can we try to eat? At least let us have dinner first." His father nodded, an unexpected relief washing over him at the invitation. "You've been cooking with her?" There was a hint of admiration mixed with surprise in his father's voice, as if Jake had turned into a man he never knew. "Yeah," Lily replied, her tone softening. "We made some changes, trying to be healthier. You should try it." A strange confidence glimmered in her eyes, and Jake marveled at how she stood her ground, unwilling to let fear dictate her intentions. As they moved toward the table, Jake took a deep breath. Could they truly invite the past into their present? A fragile hope flickered within him. Maybe there was healing to be found, even when the path forward felt uncertain and treacherous. Each bite they shared felt like a tentative step into the unknown, a blend of flavors and memories stirring within him. Jake caught his father glancing at both of them, an unsettling mix of pride and regret shadowing his features. He knew the conversation was far from over, looming like a storm laden with unexpressed feelings. After dinner, as they cleared the table, Jake felt a sudden surge of courage. "Can we start again?" he asked his father, the weight of those words pressing against the heavy air. "Like really try?" His father's eyes glistened as he struggled for the right response. "I want that. I truly do." But as the quiet settled over the remnants of their dinner, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that shadows still lurked just beyond the flickering kitchen light. Would they ever escape the past, or was it destined to haunt them? As Lily grabbed the dishcloth to help with the last of the cleanup, her voice cracked through the thick silence. "I'm not trying to be rude, but how do you know you can really change?" The question hung between them, heavy and raw, begging an answer as the night deepened around them. Jake's heart thudded with a mix of fear and hope. Would this be the moment that changed everything, or merely a false dawn before a deeper night? Jake took a step back, the question hanging in the air like a specter. He could feel the pulse of anxious energy in the room. His father looked at Lily with an almost desperate expression, as if searching for the right words to win back the trust of a daughter he'd never really known. "Change," he finally began, his voice unsteady. "It doesn't happen overnight. I can't expect your forgiveness like I expect a meal to be ready in 30 minutes. It takes work, patience." Lily's expression softened for a moment. She appeared thoughtful, but the wariness still loomed in her big, questioning eyes. Jake watched the conflict within her, a natural instinct to protect her father, but also to confront him. For all the years, he had chosen absence over presence. "Do you even know what you want from us?" Jake's voice surprised him. Do you want to be a father, or do you just want to feel better about leaving in the first place? The frustration clawed at his insides, fueling his words with a raw urgency that felt both liberating and terrifying. Jake's father flinched slightly, the weight of his son's words crashing over him. I came here hoping to be part of your lives again. I miss so much. I want to fix that, he admitted, his honesty palpable, a flicker of pain in his gaze. I want to know both of you. Lily's fingers tightened around the dishcloth. It's not that simple. Her voice quivered, but her resolve was stronger than before. You have to earn that, like you have to earn trust. We aren't just going to welcome you back with open arms. It doesn't work that way. Jake couldn't believe his daughter was standing up for both of them. He felt a swell of pride mixed with fear. Lily was brave, unafraid to articulate the pains of their stories. Could he take courage from her strength? You both deserve more than just apologies, his father said quietly, his eyes searching Jake's for understanding. I guess I don't even know where to start. Deciding to take a chance, Jake inhaled deeply. Start by sharing your memories with us. What drove you away? What was worth leaving? The question felt like a dare, igniting a fire of vulnerability that he both feared and craved. His father looked haunted for a moment, the types of memories that had haunted him for years flashing like an old film reel through his expression. I was scared, he finally admitted, his voice trembling. Scared of being a failure. I thought if I left, maybe I wouldn't mess you up. But truthfully, all I did was leave you both in pain. Pain? Jake echoed softly, his heart caught in a swell of empathy. We were angry. Angry at you for not being there. The words flowed out, each of them tearing at a scab that had never quite healed. Silence fell over them, charged with mutual understanding. Jake could sense the vulnerability creeping in, wrapping around each of them. Could they truly confront the wounds that had festered all these years? Lily broke the tension, her voice sharp but not unkind. Then if you really want to change, you have to show us that you mean it. It can't just be words. We need actions. Otherwise, what is the point? Jake felt a strange sort of hope weaving through the chaos. Maybe they could forge a new path, one where they were not just haunted by the past, but determined to change it together. The moment lingered as they stood, their father, son, and granddaughter each grappling with their roles, their memories, their possibilities. But just as the atmosphere began to settle, Jake's phone buzzed on the counter, snapping them from the emotional fog. He glanced down, heart sinking at the message that flashed on the screen. Mom wants to talk. Urgent. His stomach dropped. Would this disruption bring more shadows, or could it finally reveal more truth? Guess it's time for another truth, Jake said, looking back up at his father and Lily. They needed clarity amid the storm brewing around them, and he couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. Whatever lay ahead, they had to face it together. Would this be the turning point they all desperately needed? Jake took a moment to gather himself, the weight of his mother's message sitting heavy in his mind. He raised his eyes again, looking from Lily to his father, who looked just as unsteady. This might change everything, he said, and the seriousness in his tone settled over them like a thick blanket. Lily crossed her arms, her expression a mix of concern and resolve. What does she want? Will it help us? I don't know, Jake admitted, the truth of his uncertainty slipping out easily. But if she reached out, it must be important. He felt a knot in his stomach. Growing up, the conversations with his mother often carried burdens of their own painful truths masked by a layer of superficial normalcy. Taking a deep breath, he tapped on the screen, revealing the message. His heart raced as he read it aloud. She says she needs to talk about Dad and everything that happened. Time seemed to stretch in the silence that followed, thick with anticipation. His father's eyes widened slightly, and Jake caught an odd flicker, a mix of dread and the hope of resolution. Look, Jake said, breaking the stillness, maybe this is a chance for answers. The ones we've never had. Lily pushed her hair behind her ear, her voice barely above a whisper. And what, if anything, will we learn that we don't already know? Jake couldn't answer that. The truth was, he didn't know what lay behind those words. He just felt that they were standing on the edge of something monumental, like a cliff high above the ocean, ready to jump but held back by fear. I think we should hear her out, his father said, the tremor in his voice betraying a flicker of vulnerability. It's time I own up to everything to you both. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again, Jake's own heartbeat quickening. I'll FaceTime her, he decided, his voice steadying. He needed clarity, and maybe just walking into that fire would lead them to the truth. Holding his breath, he pressed the button. The screen flickered to life, showing his mother's face, but she looked different, tired, older, as if the years had draped themselves on her like a heavy coat. Jake? She said, and the tremor in her voice sent a chill through him. Mom, he replied, trying to match her energy, we got your message. Her eyes darted around nervously before landing on his. I know this is hard. But I have things to say, things that need to be addressed. Jake glanced at Lily, and then back at the screen. You're right. We deserve to understand everything. Especially after all this time. I understand, she said, a deep sigh escaping her lips. This is as hard for me as it is for you. His heart began to race again. This was at the confrontation they couldn't avoid any longer. They had all kept secrets wrapped tightly, and now they were on the precipice of finally unraveling everything. Before you speak, just know I want the truth, Jake said firmly, feeling this was his moment to reclaim power for himself and Lily, to push beyond the facade. Please don't interrupt, his mother replied, her voice barely controlled. I need to explain what led to your father leaving. It's complicated, and I don't want to excuse him. But you both deserve to hear it. In that moment, Jake could feel the air grow heavy with anticipation, as if the very walls of their home held their breath, awaiting the inevitable storm. All right, Jake said, we're listening. And with that, they braced themselves for what lay ahead. Would this bring healing, or would it deepen the rift? The question lingered in the air, thick and charged, as they waited for answers that could either tie them together or tear them apart. What was the secret that had kept them all apart? Jake steadied himself, his heart pounding in his chest. The moment felt surreal. The bright screen illuminated his mother's weary face, contrasting sharply with the darkness of their surroundings. He could sense the anxiety radiating from Lily beside him, her fingers fiddling with the hem of her shirt. Jake, Lily, his mother began, her voice unsteady but firm, the story I have isn't just mine. It affects all of us. It always has. She paused, glancing away as though gathering strength, then focused on them again, locking eyes with a raw intensity. We were happy once, your father and I. The admission hung in the air, drawing a deep breath from each of them. But life took its toll. Pressures. Secrets. Betrayals I never anticipated. What does that mean? Jake's voice held an edge of urgency, almost desperate for clarity. What kind of secrets? I'm not asking for forgiveness, she continued, her hands trembling. But you must know the truth. Your father, he was never the man he seemed to be. There were things he hid, things that warped our lives and yours. Jake felt a wave of confusion roll over him, questions clamoring for attention in his mind. He exchanged a glance with Lily, who looked equally bewildered. Was he cheating? The words left his lips before he could stop them. No. It was never about that, she replied hastily, her voice cracking. It was deeper, darker. There were circumstances from his past, things he never wanted to surface. I thought they were buried, but they affected every part of our family. Jake fought the urge to interrupt again, feeling a knot in his gut. He needed to let her speak, to weave whatever tale she had into something they could grasp. Why now? Why bring this up after so long? Because I've been away trying to find answers myself. I thought distance would allow us all to heal, she explained, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. I thought that by keeping quiet, I could protect you both. But it only made things worse. What are you talking about? Lily interjected, her frustration bubbling to the surface. How could keeping secrets protect us? Some truths are so heavy, their mother said, trembling. Some wounds stay festering underneath until they're dealt with. Your father left to shield you from those realities, but in doing so, he deprived you of your understanding, of your strength. The room grew quiet. All the air seemed to leave the space around them. Jake could feel his heart racing, coursing with anger and betrayal. Mom, you're saying he left to protect us from something you knew about? From him? Yes, she whispered, her voice barely audible. And I regret not bringing it up sooner. The decisions we make, they ripple through our lives. I didn't mean for this to happen. Jake pushed back against the wave of emotions threatening to engulf him. What do you want us to do? Just forgive and forget? No. It's not that easy, she pleaded. I want us to confront this together. To not repeat the cycle of silence that has plagued our family. He looked at Lily, who was lost in thought. What if we don't want to? She said, quiet but resolute. I can't force you, but we need honesty. We need to break these cycles, their mother cried, desperation inching into her voice. Jake's mind raced with the weight of what lay ahead. He didn't know if he could handle the truth. What if it changed everything he thought he knew about his family? Tell us what you're holding back, he urged, feeling the ground beneath him shift. Let us face it. The silence stretched again, heavy and taut. His mother nodded, her expression firming as if she was preparing to dive into deep, turbulent waters. All right, she said, but brace yourselves because what I'm about to reveal could change everything. And with that, Jake felt the world spin on its axis, teetering on the edge of something monumental. Was he ready for the depths of what was to come? There was no turning back now. The depths of their family's past awaited, and whatever emerged, he knew it would shape their futures in unfathomable ways. How could one revelation hold the power to unravel everything they had thought was stable? Jake held his breath, expecting the ground to shake beneath him. The tension in the air was palpable as their mother's gaze traveled between them, searching for the right words. He could see her thoughts racing, and with each passing moment, the anticipation thickened. Your father had a brother, she finally uttered, her voice low as if fearing the walls would eavesdrop. A brother you never knew existed. He died when they were young. What? Jake's shock sliced through the quiet. He shook his head, trying to process this new layer of complexity. How could we not know that? What happened? The words rushed out of his mouth, accusation swirling within him. Lily said nothing, her eyes widening, mirroring Jake's disbelief. He took his own life, their mother whispered, the admission almost a confession. Tears spilled down her cheeks, unbidden. Your father felt he had failed him. He never forgave himself. It lived within him, a burden he never wanted to share. Jake's heart sank. The ghost of a forgotten uncle weighed heavily in the room. Why would that matter now? Why didn't you ever talk about him? This isn't just a secret. It's a part of our family history. Because it shattered your father, she said, her voice thick with sorrow. He thought by keeping it buried, he could shield you both from that pain. He believed it would protect our family, but it did the opposite. Jake felt a flicker of anger. How could this be a protection? The truth felt like a sacred trust violated. You think saying nothing was better? That makes no sense. Your father learned to mask his hurt, to build walls. He thought he was protecting you. But it just led to silence. Isolation, she murmured, anguish spilling over in her words. I should have broken that silence. I thought safeguarding you meant keeping the past hidden. Lily finally spoke, her voice soft yet firm. But that doesn't excuse the distance it created. All those years, what do we do with that? Jake felt a knot tightening in his chest. Each word from their mother was a knife digging deeper, exposing wounds he never knew existed. Yet, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to shift. I don't know, honey, their mother replied, her voice cracking as she reached for both of them, her hands trembling. But there is something you need to understand. You're not your father's mistakes. You don't have to carry this weight. You can change it together. He glanced at Lily, her expression a mix of confusion and determination. Change it how? She asked, almost imploring. Confront it. Talk about it. Let the truth breathe, let it guide you forward, instead of letting it haunt the shadows, their mother urged, desperation cutting through her sadness. I never showed you that pain could foster strength, but it can. It should. The room seemed to vibrate with unspoken emotions as they processed what lay ahead. Would they really take that leap into the unknown? Could they unearth their family's buried past to forge a new future? Jake's heart thundered in his chest as a sudden sense of hope began to flicker within him. Maybe that was what they needed, freedom from the shackles of silence. What do we do next? He asked breathlessly. Their mother's gaze brightened as she took a deep breath. We start talking. We share everything we feel, every fear, every hurt, she said, her determination hardening. We take the first step to break the cycle. Together. Her words hung in the air, a fragile yet palpable challenge. Could they really move past the silence? Was it time to stitch together the fragments of their fractured family? In that moment, as the shadows began to lift, Jake felt a wave of determination touch down. This was just the beginning. But what would they discover when they dared to confront not only their father's past, but their own feelings in the process? Everything had changed in an instant, but the journey ahead loomed vast and uncertain. What other truths awaited them in the depths of their family's story? Would they be strong enough to face them? Jake could hardly believe the weight that had settled in the room. Their mother's revelation hung there like a storm cloud, charged with unspoken fears and revelations yet to come. He exchanged a look with Lily, a silent understanding passing between them. This was their moment to leap into the unknown. Okay, he began, his voice steadying. So we talk, but where do we even start? Their mother wiped her eyes, letting out a shaky breath. Let us begin with your father. Talk about what you remember, things that bothered you, moments that felt off. It's important to share your truth. Truth, Lily whispered. The word felt heavy, like the very walls they stood in had absorbed the silence of their family's unshared pain. I just wish I could have understood him better, she said, her voice nearly breaking. All those times when he shut us out, I was left guessing. Jake felt a shift. You know, sometimes I thought it was me. Like I was the reason he distanced himself. I'd hear him in the night, pacing or talking to someone. I just assumed it was work or stress. Their mother frowned, guilt dipping into her features. He did carry a lot, but you both were never the problem. You didn't cause him to close up. He was fighting his own ghosts. A silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Jake could feel his mind racing, the memories flooding in family dinners punctuated by awkward silences, family vacations where laughter turned into forced smiles. The idea of his father as struggles, the brother he never knew, twisted something deep within him. Why did no one ever say anything? He finally asked, voice emerging firm but uncertain. Because he was afraid, their mother said, her voice quaking with emotion. Afraid of how you would react, how it would change everything. I was afraid, too, of stirring up his pain. But we can't keep living in shadows. I just wish he could see that we're here for him, Jake muttered, frustration bubbling up. Why couldn't he trust us? Because he felt unworthy of that trust. There was such a deep sadness in their mother's eyes as she spoke, almost as if she were sharing the burden that had weighed her down for years. He thought sharing would make him less of a father, less of a husband. He thought he had to protect you from pain, when in reality he only pushed you both away. Jake glanced at Lily. She was biting her lip, suppressing a wave of tears. The thought of their father as suffering shattered something in him. This invisible chasm had separated them for too long, and it was time to bridge it. Then we have to make him understand it's okay to feel, to share. Their mother nodded, her expression morphing into a mix of pride and sorrow. That is the spirit. But remember, this will take time. Change won't happen overnight. Just take one step at a time. Start by sharing with each other. Let those walls start coming down. Like starting a fire, Jake offered, an unexpected spark of hope igniting within him. We can rekindle something that we never had. Exactly, their mother responded, her smile breaking through the fog of despair. You two can lead the way. It starts with you. I believe in you. As they all sat there, a sense of unity formed, though the trail ahead felt daunting. Challenging, yes, but together they could face the past, hold on to the good, and perhaps find a way to heal. But as Jake looked around the room, the whispers of his dad's ghost lingered in the air, reminding him that finding peace wouldn't be easy. Would their father be open to this new chapter, to the truth that they wanted to share? Would he finally embrace the love and understanding they were offering? As he sat back, heart racing with both trepidation and anticipation, the path ahead twisted like a maze, each turn promising discovery but also uncertainty. And Jake swallowed hard, ready to step into the next phase of their journey. What awaited them on the other side? Jake's heart thudded in his chest, the words of their mother still echoing in his mind. Though a flicker of hope ignited within him, it was quickly smothered by a mounting dread. What if their father was ready to let them in? It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, the ground beneath him crumbling away, leaving nothing but a vast unknown. Lily broke the suffocating tension. What if we start tonight? Just sitting together, maybe watching that old movie he loves? Her voice was tentative, but there was a spark of determination mingling with the fragility. Yeah, that could work, Jake replied, his mind racing. Memories of laughter mingled with quiet moments flooded back, reminding him of the man who still lived within the fortress of walls he had built. We should keep it light first. Right, their mother chimed in, wiping the remnants of tears from her cheeks. The first step is to build some comfort again. It's been so long since you just all shared a moment freely. She smiled, but the sadness lingered in her eyes, revealing the weight she still bore. As the night set in, there was an uneasy excitement in the air. Jake and Lily retreated to the living room, tidying up the space in a flurry of nervous energy. Jake grabbed a few cushions from the couch, tossing them around to create a cozy nest. The soft glow of the lamp washed over them like a warm hug, but the stillness felt heavy. They put on their father's favorite film, the nostalgic sounds filling the space. With each passing moment, the familiar scenes played out, teasing memories of better days. Jake's spirit lifted a bit, and he caught Lily smiling as she glanced at him. But as the credits rolled, doubt crept back in. The clock ticked away, the silence stretched like a taut string, and still there was no sign of their father. What if he doesn't come out? Jake murmured, anxiety prickling at the corners of his mind. Then we wait, Lily whispered, her voice steady but laced with the same thoughts. Just then, they heard the door creak open. Their father shuffled in, an old sweatshirt draped over his shoulders. His eyes caught the flicker of the TV screen, and for a moment, he paused, uncertainty etched across his face. Hey, Dad, Jake called, trying to keep his tone light. We thought we'd have a movie night. Their father hesitated, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. I wasn't sure, just tired, he said quietly. His gaze flitted from Jake to Lily, a mix of emotion swirling in his eyes. "Please," Lily said softly, her voice just above a whisper. "We really want to hang out. It's been too long." Their father took a breath, and the moment stretched out painfully. Jake could see the invisible walls his father had built, walls that seemed ready to crumble, if only he would allow it. "Sure, I could watch a bit," he said, moving toward the couch. As he settled in, Jake sensed a small victory unfurling within him. They were together, even just for a moment, and it felt significant. As the next film began, Jake felt a shift in the atmosphere, a glimmer of connection beginning to pierce through the silence that had enveloped them for so long. But with every joke and laugh shared, a deeper awareness loomed. They were treading on fragile ground. Would tonight be a breakthrough or simply another flash of the past before the inevitable storm? Jake's chest tightened with every turn of the scene. They were sitting there, all of them, side by side, but in the back of his mind lingered the question that haunted him. What would it truly take for his father to share his burdens, to let them be part of the healing? Would this night stir something inside him? Jake glanced at Lily, her wide eyes reflecting both hope and apprehension. In that moment, he knew they were delving deeper into uncharted territory. And as the film flickered on, so did a quieter, yet powerful flame of determination in Jake's heart to break through the silence once and for all. The mood in the room shifted slightly as the movie continued, each laughter exchange sounding almost like a fragile promise. Jake felt a thread of connection weaving between them, an invisible bond that felt both comforting and precarious. He wanted to reach out, to grasp his father's hand and squeeze it with reassurance, but fear anchored him in place. What if his father recoiled? What if this fragile moment shattered? The film rolled on, filled with light-hearted moments that contrasted sharply with the heavy silence resting just beneath the surface. Jake stole glances at his father, who seemed oddly entranced yet distant, like he was watching the movie from behind a glass wall. The familiar lines of the film brought a smile to Lily's face. She was trying to create a bridge between their past and present, but Jake noticed the way their father's shoulders remained tense, like he was caught in some unseen battle. "Remember the popcorn we used to make?" Jake broke the silence, clinging to the memories that lingered like small beams of light. "You'd always burn it just a bit, but we loved it anyway." A flicker passed across their father's face, a shift that Jake almost missed. He turned to look at Jake, the old spark of paternal affection igniting for just a moment. "Yeah, I always had to keep my eyes on it," he replied, his tone revealing a hint of nostalgia buried deep within. Lily leaned forward, her eyes brightening. "And what about those silly voices we did during the film? You sounded just like the pirate," she chimed in, her laughter sweeping over them like balm. For an instant, the ghost of a smile touched their father's lips, a faint outline of the man they remembered. But just as quickly, it vanished. The shadows of the past loomed larger, and the air once again grew thick. Jake's heart dropped. The walls were still there, stubborn and unyielding. "Dad," Jake ventured, his voice threading through the hesitation, "we've missed you. We need you to be here with us." The words slipped out before he could wrestle them back, raw and exposed. Their father recoiled slightly as if struck. The spark of connection flickered unsteadily. Jake held his breath, waiting for the reaction. Would his father lash out in anger, or retreat back behind his walls? "I don't know if I can do this," their father said, the cracks in his voice exposing earlier wounds, a vulnerability they hadn't seen in ages. It was all Jake could do not to leap from the couch and wrap his arms around him. "You don't have to, just take it slow," Lily intervened gently, her features softening as she leaned in like a beacon of warmth. "We'll be here, every step of the way." Their father took a shaky breath, his gaze falling to the floor as their words sank in. Jake felt another beat of hope, yet uncertainty raised its harsh voice again. Was this a moment of breakthrough, or just an illusion of progress? As the sound of laughter continued on the screen, incongruous yet oddly comforting, Jake sensed the chance to dig deeper. "What hurt you, Dad?" "We're here to help," he pressed, his voice steady but trembling with vulnerability. Time seemed to stall, every heartbeat echoing like a war drum. Would he be met with resistance? Or would this be the moment they needed to change everything? Their father's eyes lifted, filled with a storm of emotions, and for the first time in ages, Jake believed he might just see the man he'd always wanted to reconnect with. What would happen if he finally opened the floodgates? A profound silence enveloped the room, stretching between them like a taut wire. Jake could feel his heart pounding as he awaited his father's response. Would he crumble under the weight of their concern, or would he finally let them in? Their father shifted uneasily. "I don't want to drag you into my darkness," he admitted, his voice just above a whisper. "I thought it'd be easier to carry my burdens alone, but I see it now that it only pushed you away." Tears pricked at the corners of Jake's eyes. They weren't just tears of sorrow. They were tears of hope, a flicker of connection glowing in the dimness. "But we're here, Dad. We want to carry that weight together. Please don't shut us out anymore." His father's gaze softened, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "You don't know the kind of pain I was dealing with. Losing a brother, it shattered me. I thought if I stayed away, if I left, maybe you two could be free from my failures." Jake shook his head slowly, anguish slipping from his heart. "But you don't understand that by leaving, you just handed down the pain and empty space that left us guessing. We didn't need a perfect father, we needed you. Just you." A flicker of recognition crossed his father's face. For the first time, it seemed as if the walls were breaking, if only a little. "I've spent years thinking I had protected you both," he murmured. "But I see it now. I was protecting myself more than anything." Lily leaned closer. "You can't expect us to just forgive and forget. It's going to take work. But we want you here. We need honesty. We're willing to try if you are." "I want to try," their dad confessed, a weighty tremor lacing his words. "But I don't know where to start." "Start by letting us in," Jake urged, each syllable filled with warmth and urgency. "Tell us your stories, the good and the bad. Let us share this journey together." Their father took a shuddering breath, his gaze slipping from Jake to Lily. "I just wanted to shield you from hurt. But all I did was leave you both in pain. And we want to understand it," Lily said gently. "We've been longing to know you, to know the real you. Not just the ghosts of who you used to be." In that moment, the air shifted. The anxiety that had hung over them lifted just enough to grant space for something new to blossom. Their father slowly opened his mouth, each word heavy with years of unspoken truths. "When I lost Jeremy, I thought I'd never recover. Life turned dark, it was too hard to face. So I ran." As his father spoke, the external world melted away, and Jake felt as if they were the only three souls left in existence. With each confession, he watched layers peel away, revealing the vulnerability beneath. It was raw and painful, but it felt right. "I tried to drown it in work, in distractions," his father admitted, his voice cracking. "But I carried it with me, like an aching ghost. I didn't know how to ask for help. I thought disappearing was easier." Jake and Lily exchanged glances, understanding blossoming between them like threads weaving a beautiful tapestry, a chance to bridge their world with the one their father inhabited. "And by leaving, I thought I was giving you freedom. But all I did was leave scars," their father continued. Tears spilled over, guilt and regret flowing freely now. "I need you to know that was my intention." Jake felt a shiver run through him, an explosive surge of gratitude and relief intertwining. "This is it, Dad, this is the truth that can start our healing." Lily nodded, heart softening. "You're not alone anymore. We're ready to face the past with you." As the credits of the film rolled silently in the background, they sat in that cocoon of honesty, finally learning to navigate the storm together. The air around them hummed with a fragile but undeniable hope and acknowledgement that change starts by peeling back layers and illuminating truths buried beneath shadows. Jake took a deep breath, his heart swelling. This is just the beginning. We're committed to breaking this cycle. Together, with you, he promised, aware that the roads ahead wouldn't all be easy. But they were on the right path. That night, new stories began to unfold. As the flickering darkness of the past slowly receded, a dawning light illuminated their way forward. They were a family wounded, yes, but ready to rebuild. Hand in hand, they would take each step toward their tomorrows, where open hearts and bare truths would lead the way. And as they embraced the uncertainty of their journey, they were not just restoring their family, they were transforming it altogether. The shadows may have haunted them, but now, united by courage and understanding, they faced the future undaunted. If you resonated with Jake's journey or felt inspired by their transformation, now is your time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this impactful ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us grow this community together.